Listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name. And we're still here.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. I am so psyched about the episode that you're about to see. It's going to be legend. Wait for it. We'll get there later in the show. Very special guest this episode. If you are a fan of the JETS, I suggest you stay tuned because it's going to get epic, all right? I'm Nick, and with me, as always, is Anthony the Rook, TJ, who's hammered, and we are pumped and ready to go.
I'm actually excited that we're all together again. It's been a while. We didn't record last week. We didn't have an episode last week, and then you guys did the Rangers show without me because I wasn't unavailable. So it's been a while.
It looks like you're unavailable right now. It looks like you're trying to like phase in and out of that wall behind you like a ghost.
Whoa!
Getting fancy and stuff with your brick wall.
That's because we're painting the room behind me, so it's a little messy. So I went to the virtual background to help me out here.
Don't let him fool you. That room's getting painted pink. He's telling us it's for his incoming daughter. It's not. It's for him.
It's definitely for him.
You actually could see every time I move my head, you can see the pink behind it. It's not pink though, it's lavender. But those are not the colors we're picking. So
that's how I know it's for him, because he knew it was lavender.
Definitely.
I would have just been like, it's light purple.
It's true.
It has a bad day at work. I'm going to my special soothing room. Nobody bother me.
It smells like jasmine.
Smells like lavender.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Many leather-bound books.
I don't miss this part. Getting ripped on.
but again, a great episode. I just want to point out one new addition I have to the office. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. I've got the Razor Ramon Intercontinental Championship belt.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, WWE.
Beautiful.
It actually has a toothpick holder in it.
That's so sick.
That you can fit at least two toothpicks in.
You gonna wear it around and just flick toothpicks at people?
I've been actually just carrying toothpicks in my mouth just for fun lately. I don't know. Thank you, Scott Hall. We miss you.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Rest in peace. But let's jump into it because I know we got a lot to talk about. We have a big interview, so that's going to take up a big portion of our show today. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about sports, but we want to jump into it. New York Yankees, they are at 50 wins, best team in baseball. They're losing right now. I think it's bottom of the eighth right now. It's the Rays, but down a run. But it happens. It's baseball. You're gonna hit times where you're gonna lose games, and it's baseball. You're not gonna win them all. So 15 and 18 is a pretty awesome start. 68 games this season, and we only seen the Yankees lose 18 times, which is pretty impressive.
Absolutely impressive. I think the one thing that I'm looking at this year that's a difference than previous years is the sustainability of this team and kind of how they're relying on everybody, as far as the starting pitching and their bullpen. It seems like one of those things where it's just next guy up, get us a win. Next guy up, get us a win. And it's not, hey, Monday through Thursday, the first three games of that rotation, we got it in the bag, two out of three wins, sure. And then it's a crapshoot. It just seems like they're going out there and everybody on that rotation in that roster is primed to win every single game. And it's just not a factor of this guy or that guy. It's a cohesive team. They're playing as a unit, and it's fun to watch.
Talking about that, what I really notice about this team, there's no stopper on the team. Meaning, years past, they always said, oh, CC's the stopper. Garrett Cole's the stopper. When you go on a slide, he comes in, he gives you there is no stopper. And the reason that there's no stoppers, they don't need one.
No,
every single guy, 1 through 5, is a stopper. And, from CC, from CC, well, I'm going back in time, from Garrett Cole through Nasty Nestor to Gumby to to Jameson Tyone and down to Luis Severino, everybody on that team on any given day is an ace.
Yeah.
And Jose Trevino just hit one deep to left field. There it goes.
Tie game?
No about a doubt it. That's a home run. Yankees up 5-4 in the top of the 8th.
Wow. Let's go.
See what happens when we talk about New York sports. Good things happen, folks.
Yeah.
And this is what you were talking about before, though, TJ, is that everyone on that roster is contributing. Jose Trevino is having a good year. He's second in All-Star voting right now. No, All-Star voting is like a popularity contest, but he's playing really well. He's hitting home runs.
He's not popular enough to be a part of a popularity contest.
Yeah, but he is. And he's got 2 walk-up hits so far. You know, he's playing well. And you have Matt Carpenter, who came off the scraps from Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
He's in the minor league system. And the hits, he had like 9 hits, 6 of them were home runs, or 7 of them were home runs, something ridiculous number like that. So you just have contribution from every guy in this lineup. And that's why this team is not losing. They're playing really well.
Yeah,
who's again, so far?
Yeah, I was going to say the biggest surprise to me so far is how well they are playing, because we were a little bit down on them going into the season, not really making a splash. You know, you had the lull of the lockout and us just sitting here like, what is Cashman doing? You need to make moves. Thank you for Rizzo back, absolutely, and he has been a fucking gem, dude. And I wouldn't consider that a surprise. That's exactly what you think you're getting out of Rizzo.
Yeah.
But it's just appreciate, dude. He's a stud. He's a ball player through and through. And I mean, that was a must have. That was a must resign for the Yankees, and it's paying dividends right away. It's just apparent, and I am so happy with that move. And like I said, kind of crapping on the lack of movement. It hasn't really jostled them. It hasn't hurt them at all. It's not dampening their game plan. And I mean, dude, what's the? I think the only fallout, the only weak spot is the Gallo situation.
Gallo and Hicks.
Yeah, Gallo and Hicks. Hicks actually has had a really good June. I think he's batting over 300 in June. So is Glaber. Glaber's had a very good June. So maybe Hicks is turning around. I don't have too much confidence in him, but he could be.
Glaber's had a very good season up to this point, and offensively and defensively. I think he's only made 2-3 errors this season. I'm a little shocked at IKF and how many errors he's made thus far in this season. But I think the happiest thing for me right now is Aaron Judge has 2 home runs today. He leads Major League Baseball with 27 home runs. Starting the season, a lot of people were shitting on him, sitting there saying you should have taken the money. You're not going to get a better deal. I think the Yankees are going to have to pay the piper on this one, and I could not be happier.
Yeah, here's the thing too about Aaron Judge, which I always hate, and it just shows you how we always talk about how we hate ESPN so much, but Sunday Night Baseball, Aaron Judge comes on, they're talking about, he's injury prone. If he's not injured, like who are these talking heads in baseball or in sports media that talk about Aaron Judge is always hurt? He was even hurt last year. Like he got injured before, but every player gets injured. I think he gets mislabeled as being an injury prone. But
is it
pretty consistent?
Or is it more like, especially ESPN, they love focusing in on a negative and carrying it through and trying to make it a key talking point in a story. Mm-hmm. And it's irritating because, number one, no fan wants to hear that. I mean, even an opposing fan, you never want to see an opposing player get injured or like, oh yeah, he's prone to injuries. Hopefully he gets hurt tonight. Screw them.
There's plenty of times I wish injury on other teams.
Silently to yourself, you're not sitting there like, thank you, ESPN. Yes.
Yeah, you're not on,
bring on the
baseball
jinx.
Doing it.
I wouldn't do it on Saturday night.
Yeah,
I
step on a sprinkler head.
I know who I want to be injured, like up here. You guys know who I want to get injured regularly.
I do.
Yeah, but it's mostly in hockey.
Yeah, it's mostly hockey. I know who it is because you said it before.
Football too.
Dude, you know what? And it's funny too because
I have threatened athletes on this show, but that's got nothing to do with the game. That's just got to do with like if I see them in the street, it's on.
Dude, but it's almost it's taking over sports a little bit. Like I was watching the U.S. Open, and the jinx is a factor. And Michael K can.
I was just gonna fucking say Michael K.
Dude, he can shit in his own hat, and he can talk himself up as much as he wants. But it happens, dude. And I'm watching. Scotty Scheffler's got a 4-foot putt at the U.S. Open, which people are missing friggin' 2-foot putts. It's not easy out there, and they had to put the jinx on it. I forget who it was, but whoever it was says, Scotty Scheffler is the only person that hasn't missed a putt all weekend, in the U.S. Open from 5 feet. And wouldn't you know it, he blows it 2 feet past. It's like, you asshole. Like, there should be a penalty. You know what I mean? We have laws written up for if you rob a bank and, you assault somebody, there's consequences. If you say something stupid, like a guy hasn't done this yet, or this guy hasn't messed up, and you messed up, the camera should cut and somebody should walk out with a phone book and just hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Chinese phone book. Twice as thick.
You got more chins than a Chinese.
Wow.
That was the old joke.
Yeah. It's a reason it's an old joke and nobody says that
insensitive book.
God.
We're gonna have to send Brooke to sensitivity training. We're sorry.
I apologize. You mentioned I
Everybody
think you were
goes to
going
me
there.
first.
I think you were going there.
I was thinking of Rush Hour 3 when they get beat up with phone books and Jackie Chan says, "You're lucky it wasn't the Chinese phone book. Twice as thick."
Oh God. But yeah, again, the Yankees are rolling. Very exciting time. It's good to have them to fall back on after the Rangers get washed out of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Mhm.
They don't make the finals.
Why would you even bring that up though?
Still a great run, because that's why it's still a great run.
It is, but
listen, it was tremendous to be able to watch our team go through so much. They give us a lot of excitement. 2 Game 7 wins in the first round of the playoffs and the second round of the playoffs. We were down in Atlantic City. We've said this multiple times. Down in Atlantic City for Game 7. Little birthday weekend for me, going absolutely ballistic when the Rangers move on and destroy the Penguins. Bye-bye, Cindy Crosby. And then we go up against the Hurricane, who's everybody said we do not stack up well against. They had our number all season long, and boom, there we go. Another Game 7 victory, another move on. We had the momentum going in to Game 3, kind of lost it, and the Tampa Bay Lightning ran away with it. But to be able to then, hockey's my number one sport. The Rangers are my number one team, diehard Ranger fan. To then be able to go right into the Yankees, who the Yankees and the Jets are my, right there, neck and neck, is my second favorite team. Sports to watch, baseball and football. I don't think there's any comparison between the two. It's a little more exciting football season, less games. But you go right into Yankees baseball, and they are just a unit. They are rolling. They're a wagon. And it's nice to have this team to fall back on, especially with how, like I said, we were kind of crapping on them in the offseason, the preseason, the lockout time. So I'm really excited going forward with this. Again, just to touch on the Mets, I think you guys both had them pegged as, let's see how their pitching works out and how their rotation stays healthy. It didn't work out too long. I would say if we could have bet that on FanDuel, that would be another cash for the boys on Scoreboard Addicts podcast.
I do want to say, I think me and TJ, we were talking about this in the preseason when they were talking about bringing in Freeman or Olsen to play first instead of Luke Voigt. We were both on board with bringing back Rizzo. We're like, why are we looking anywhere else? Resign Rizzo, bring him back. And I think Cash made the right move going with him.
You know what? And we were both on the same page with, it's not. We had no problem with Luke Voigt, but he just doesn't fit in the squad, and you expect more out of a Yankees first baseman.
He's great defensively.
Yes, and he's having success. Now that he's moved on, and that's great for him. No ill will towards him, but you needed that guy, and Rizzo was that guy. I don't want to say that Freeman Olsen wasn't that guy. Because we would have been happy with either one, but we said at the very least, you got to bring back Rizzo because he's a ball player, he's a gamer, and he's the type of guy you want on this team to bring it all together. And it's true, dude. We hit the nail on the head because I don't know if they're having the amount of success they're having without Rizzo this year, and they're definitely faltering in that area if we're just going with somebody bringing up from the minors.
I think Voigt right now is comparable to Rizzo as far as production offensively is concerned, but it can't be you can't take away from what he brings to the table defensively, making everybody on that infield better. Voigt flat out just doesn't have the chops defensively. And as a baseball player, having played baseball the majority of my adult life and childhood, I would say that defense is the easiest part of the game to improve on. It's literally just you and the ball. No one's trying to trick you. Nobody's sitting there trying to stop you from catching the ball, especially at first base. I'm sorry, that whole like thing in Moneyball where the guy's like first base is very hard to play. That's a fucking lie. It's not. All right. Babe Ruth could have played first base. When you can't play the outfield anymore, they're like, why don't you just go stand by first base? Try not to fuck anything up. All right.
They put
you're stretched off the bag. Nobody's running into you. I mean, unless you're going to do a Manny Machado and try to take somebody's leg out of first base. But nobody's running into you. You have all the time in the world. All you got to do is catch the ball. And we're talking about more often than not playing in Yankee Stadium, where if you get a one hopper off the grass, you know where that ball is going. If it hits the dirt, you know where it's going because you're getting a true roll. Go friggin' play in the Berry Homes or go play in Clove Lake Park where somebody was digging a ditch for no reason at all before you start a game and then try to catch a scoop at first base. And you tell me that's hard playing first base. Actually, Yankee Stadium first base and getting a true hop off that ground, yeah, not the worst thing in the world to be doing.
I said Voit and Rizzo were comparable. I lied. Their batting average is comparable. That's about it because Rizzo's got 19 home runs and Voit has 9.
I was going to say,
and of course Rizzo's left-handed.
Yeah, that's a positive too.
And I think
standpoint is incredible.
If you're for New York baseball, it's hard to play here. Everybody knows it's hard to play here. Rising to the occasion, who would you put up there, Rizzo or Voit? I'm taking Rizzo every day of the week, and that's not a dig on Voit. It's just Rizzo is that guy.
He's what you need.
Type of player.
Yeah, I agree. But moving on from New York Yankees, I think it's time for us to do our special guest interview. We already recorded this, so this is a pre-recorded interview. We're gonna play it now. This is legendary coach Mike Westhoff.
And hold on. Legendary.
Oh, there. Yeah. Legendary coach, special teams guru. He spent 12 years with the Jets. Is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring him on, as TJ and Nick are both Jet fans, and this is a New York, pretty much New York centric podcast. Yes. Jets. And Nick was definitely fanboying out. So you got to apologize, Nick, for his stuttering and his awness that he just had. I mean, listen, I'm not a Jets fan, but I just know Mike Westhoff as being such a great legendary special teams. He revolutionized special teams. He was even talking about this during the interview. We'll get more into that, but just knowing it, I was like, damn, this is amazing to be sitting here talking football with this
absolutely. And talking to him. Tell me if Mike Westhoff told you, hey, listen, Rook, I need you to get out there and I need you to block that 350-pound lineman that can run a 440 in like 4.5 seconds flat. I need you to get out there and do it, son. Tell me you wouldn't believe him and be like, I got this, coach.
Yeah.
He wouldn't put you up there if you didn't think you could do it.
Dude, he wouldn't. I'd step in front of a train. Dude, after talking to him, all the confidence in the world. I mean, that man just, what a freaking legend. That's a highlight of this podcast, and you're going to see it here. We are still jazzed up about it.
We've been doing this for about a year. This is by far up to this. Other than our first episode, I think, where we were just starting out, fledgling, and just kind of like doing our thing. That was a lot of fun, and I loved it. This is probably my favorite moment. Like, I asked him what his favorite moment was, and you guys will see that. This was my favorite moment of our show up to this point.
I can't disagree.
Definitely. So we're gonna run a quick commercial, and then we're gonna play the interview. So it's about 40-minute interview. So you'll hear us on the flip side of this. So enjoy it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan McCarthy, and I'm the host of No Credentials Required. Now, I know there are a lot of podcasts out there that make you want to do this. Or this. And sometimes this. Well, this show shouldn't make you want to do any of those things. But No Credentials Required offers the best quality sports talk, interviews, fascinating sports takes, and even the occasional live stream. We offer it all. So tune in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Belly Up TV. Or catch episodes of the podcast wherever you podcast. No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
It's a very exciting day for us over at the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. We've got one of the most prolific. Let me just read his Wikipedia page. It says he is considered to be among the greatest special teams coaches in league history. We've got Coach Mike Westhoff, formerly of my and TJ's Jets, the Indianapolis Colts, the New Orleans Saints, the Miami Dolphins, Indiana State University, Dayton College, Northwestern, Texas Christian. He coached for the Arizona Outlaws. I mean, the resume is long and distinguished, and I'm fanboying. I'm fanboying a little bit. I'm excited, and we're glad to have him. Coach, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking this time to be with us.
No, I'm happy to do it. It's fun to do. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So I think the first question would be, you got a book coming out. What inspired you to just put pen to paper and write the book and get all the stories? And I mean, I'm sure you have stories to tell, 3 lifetimes worth with all your coaching experience. What inspired you to write the book?
That's an interesting question. With me, first of all, actually the book's already out. It'll be out everywhere July 12th. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, etc. But you can get it right now through the publisher. The publisher was Mascot Books. And you just go into Mascot Books and then put in the book title. The titles figure it out, and they'll deliver it to your house in 2 days. It's pretty easy. So, but it'll be out everywhere July 12th, and then Mascot Books through the publisher now. I always thought, it's just something I always thought I would like to do. I mean, way back when I was in school. I was at graduate school at Indiana University. I have my master's degree in psychology, educational. And it just always intrigued me how people learn and what makes things work. And how, no matter what your profession, how to figure it out and find a way to have a realm of success, whatever that is. And so it's something that I always thought about doing. And then as I got into it, and I realized at a very early stage, I got in special teams completely by accident, completely. And I was working with the Baltimore Colts in 1982. I was a strength coach, and I coached tight ends. I helped with the offensive line. I was assistant head coach, and I kind of did a little bit of everything. I don't think I did anything very well. And then we went on strike. The league was on strike then. Remember, they played 2 games, he went on strike. And I was jogging, and Frank Cush came along and said he wanted to talk to me, and we walked, and he said he was going to fire our special teams coach. He said he's terrible, he stinks. I said, well, I don't know if he's that bad, but don't fire him. And I talked him out of firing him. I said, look, let him just help the secondary. I'll take it. I'll coach it. Yeah, well, way to go, Mike. I knew nothing. I knew zero. I had his notebook. It should have come with crayons, the notebook here. So here I am, and okay, what's this all about? And really, there were no coordinators back then. The job was just kind of spread among the staff. And I learned in a hurry. First, I developed a philosophy. I said, okay, let's break it down. And I started to write. I wrote everything. It took me forever to do it, but I did it. And I said, okay, we're going to cover it. Now I'm just playing defense. So what kind of defensive coach do I want to be? I said, well, I like to blitz. So I went into our defensive coordinator. If you'll remember, you remember Bud Carson, the great defensive coordinator with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, he was our defensive coordinator and my good friend. I sat down with him. I said, Bud, take me through your perimeters of blitzing. And he did. He showed me how to establish an edge, where to keep a safety, how to run 2 people behind each other, how to make something look completely like what it's really not. And he took me through all these things. And so I used that as my philosophy of how I would cover. Now, don't forget, there's another thing I learned. Back then, there was very, very little creativity, innovation, etc. But there was zero regulation. You could do anything. So I tried everything, and I was allowed. So I developed this philosophy, and I just kept expounding on it. Then when it came to offense, I said, okay, now I'm going to run a return. Well, what do I know? Well, I'm an offensive line coach. I know how to run an off-tackle play. I know how to double team. I know how to trap. I know how to teach it. I know how to cut off a backside protection. I understand all these things. I understand kick-out blocks, which are really, that's what the wedge was. We used to use a 3-man, and then it became 2-1. And so I started to come up with this philosophy, And the more I did it, the more intrigued I was. And I thought, there aren't many people doing this stuff this way. So I just kept it up, and I kept it up, and I kept it up. And then I also learned very quickly that basically I had a timeout before every play. If I was smart, I had a timeout. So why not use it? So I started drawing everything. I became kind of famous for it. There's lots of drawings, pictures of me holding up these drawings. So instead of having 2 kickoff returns, I'd have 10. So I could get in the huddle, and I'd just look you guys in the huddle, and I'd say, all right, Nick, now remember now, you got to come here this time. I'd go over here and say, all right, Rook, you got to, don't be doing what you did the last time now. You got to I'm just messing with you. But it was fun. And I was able to do so many different things. And then it's just a matter of, okay, finding a way to put a roster together. Figure it out. How do you get these kind of guys? How do you make them your player? And I realized that the special teams game was not the same game as offense and defense because it was played on such an open field. The guy that was good in an elevator was terrible for me. So I had to find that kind of player. And then I came up with this system, and it worked. It just worked. And the more I expanded it, the better it got. And like, I think when I went to the Jets, it was at a pinnacle. It was pretty good. I mean, when my first 10 years there, we had 9 different guys that led the National Football League in returns. Now, there's nobody touching that record. I mean, I didn't have Devin Hester, so what? I didn't.
Right.
When I played against Devin Hester, he didn't run across the street against us. We didn't care. And we were good, and we were tough. And I loved the fact that I could take this group of guys, maybe not the biggest or the fastest or whatever, and figure it out, and we could help win games. And that's what we did, and I'm very, very proud of that.
Nick, Nick, you have a question?
Okay. Yeah, I do. I'm just sitting here going, wow, Coach Mike Westhoff said my name. And I'm just like, he basically just gave me a play. I'm passing out a little bit. Sorry. So I've seen praise from Coach Rex Ryan, said Hall of Fame caliber coach, much like my father, Buddy Ryan. How does a comment like that make you feel?
Well, then he added to that, because then he said also Bill Walsh. So he put me in the category of Buddy Ryan and Bill Walsh. I felt pretty good. It was
Absolutely
a compliment. So it's a very nice thing for him to say. I frankly don't believe Hall of Fame because I don't think I had enough variables to warrant that. That's just my opinion. I think I did my job very well. I'm proud of it. But that I would disagree with Hall of Fame. But I think I did it well, and I was able to figure out what it took to get it done. And I think that's what you look at the good coaches, that's what they did. I got to know Bill Walsh very well. I talked about him in my book. He offered me several jobs, actually. And I have a very nice note that I included in my book, what he said to me. It's pretty special. But that's what I was with Don Shula all those years. That's what he did. He never stopped. He never stopped. He always kept learning, finding another way. It's never okay. Don't be afraid to change, things like that. I got that lesson from another pretty good coach. You're going to have to read this one to find this one out, because it's pretty cool now. But it's from Bear Bryant in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, walking with him, sitting on a curb on a street under a tree. You read it, you'll find out. That's all. I was so fortunate. I was just in a good position. But to answer your question, you just keep learning. You keep trying. You never stop. And you figure something out, and I think that's what I really tried to do.
I was going to say, keying in on what you said, like with special teams and trying to, get the type of players, draft the type of players, build a team to get those explosive plays. Because I mean that's one of those things can blow a game wide open. A punt return, a kickoff return. Is it something that you look at your team, you look at your roster, and you can kind of build plays around the caliber of player you have? Or do you come up with a game plan at the beginning of the season and try to get these guys to adapt and just run the plays that will work? Is it just a never stopping kind of give and take of, listen, we got this guy. I know we get him the ball, he's going to take off, he's going to get us 30 yards minimum, if not blow through? That's
a good question. Not only a good question, the way you ask it is well, Some of the media guys should call you on that one.
Appreciate that.
It really is. No, I'm not kidding. I did it for a long time. I have a pretty good idea. No, what you have to do, if you're the guy that comes in with your system, and that's what's going to work, you're going to get your ass beat. You got to come in and you got to say, okay, what do I have? What do I have? What can he do? What can this guy do that this guy can't do? I mean, I learned in a hurry. I remember the one year we had Justin Miller, great returner, led the league, went to the Pro Bowl, great returner, led the NFL. All right, he gets hurt. Now I got Leon Washington. Now Leon was great, but Justin Miller, when I used to set a wedge, back then it was a wedge of 2 and 1, and we'd be double team and trapping. We did so many things. It's an intricate play and very well designed. I'm proud of it. But anyway, Justin wanted to be about 12 yards behind those guys. Leon needed to be 4 or 5. Totally different. Completely different timing, because Leon wanted to hide behind them, and at the last second he'd break out. Justin liked to try to run through them because he was so fast and powerful.
Right.
So it's important that you take, as you asked, you've got to take what you have and figure out what you can do. Okay, what can you do? What's really good? What can these guys do? When I went to the Saints, I'd been out for 5 years. I did not want to go back into coaching because the game had changed so much. I didn't know a soul in New Orleans. I never met Sean Payton. The only name I even knew in the whole building was Drew Brees. I didn't know anybody. I was working for SNY. I was really enjoying New York. I was having a good, I retired. I was liking what I was doing. Here these guys call. And then they talked me into it, and I said, okay. So I get down there after the first 2 games. We stink. I'm terrible. I don't know anything. And I talked to my son. We played the Rams out in L.A., and I called him up. And I went back out in the stadium, and I was sitting on the bench after the game, and everybody played terrible, not just me. We were all terrible. And he said, Dad, when did you start kicking the ball in the middle of the field? And he said, it looks like your guy can't catch, Dad. And then he said, you had a good-looking punt block, but your guys can't run. You'll never get there. He said to me, he said, the Rams look like your old team, and you look like the teams you used to beat. He said, my son's pretty smart now. He went to an Ivy League school, University of Pennsylvania. He played football there. He won 2 Ivy League championships. He played at St. Thomas Aquinas. He won a state championship there. He's got 3 rings. I have none. And then he said, Dad, make them play your way. They're not playing your way. Make them play your way. I started from scratch. And after that, I never lost another special teams play at the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
I never lost another one. But I figured it out, and I had to figure out, as your question, what did I have and what did they do? So I just moved people everywhere. I couldn't get a new team. I moved them all around. All of a sudden, we were pretty good. And that's the secret. You can't be afraid to change. You got to look at what you have. I used to firmly believe that I was going to play someone else. I knew I could take mine and beat them, but then I used to figure I could take theirs and beat mine.
Coach, I have
maybe that's arrogant or something like that. You can call it whatever you want. I actually believed it. Could have I
Being a competitor. I mean, that's not arrogance. It's competition. I mean, at the highest level, you got to be that way, I think.
Yeah.
It's exactly how I saw things, and I wanted the guys that I had, my guys, I wanted them to think that every week. I wanted teams to hate to play us. They used to say, I remember going up to New England, as good as they were. God bless them, they're good. We'd go up there, and I know they're going to score. But then I used to think, okay, but you got to kick off to Leon Washington. So let's find out, because I tell you, I know I can get you. I know I'm going to win this part of the game, and for most of the time I did. But most of the time I beat them. Now, was that good enough to beat them all the time? No, but it did help. And if you get the right guys and they believe it, now all of a sudden you're going to be. And I know that times that I was there in New York, I loved it. I loved the city. I loved the people. I loved the fans. It was one of the best times of my entire life.
Hey, Coach, we loved you too.
Absolutely.
I look at it with nothing but reverence, and I know that we were in a lot of playoff games. We were in a lot, and they haven't been in any since, by the way, as I should tell.
No, we know.
Should have not let me go and let someone else go. Would have been a good move for him. But anyway, he didn't do that. But nonetheless, I was proud of all those games that we won, and we were close. We were a good football team. The team that I loved when we went to the championship games with Rex, that was really a special team. I mean, they were good guys. You look at that offensive line, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Alan Faneca, he's in the Hall of Fame. Nick Mangold, Damian Woody, and then you got LaDainian Tomlinson carrying the football. I mean, this is a good and Bill Callahan was the offensive line coach. He's one of the best in the business. Though, now you're on defense, you got Darrell Reedus on one side of the field and everybody else on the other. He didn't care. And I had an all-star team. I mean, we were so tough. It was a team that could go anywhere and win. That could go up to New England and beat them. We weren't the sexiest team. I know Mark Sanchez was our quarterback. But no disrespect to Mark, none. Because he was a good manager for that football team. Was he Tom Brady? No, he wasn't. We know he wasn't. But with that type of team, we could win games. And then all of a sudden, we're okay. Now you got me going. Now, all right. So now all of a sudden, we're gonna let Alan Faneca go, and we're gonna sign Plexico Burris. No wonder I came home. That was after that kind of stuff did me in.
Now, Coach, I wanted to ask you about your time in New York. Obviously, in the book, you go through each year the coaches that were there during your tenure. You're there for 12 years. You have Eric Mangini, Herm Edwards, and Rex Ryan. Now, out of those three guys, I don't know if you want to do it this way, but would you be able to rank how you felt working with those coaches who maybe were best suited with your system?
Rex was definitely ahead. Definitely ahead. Eric, the thing about Eric, and I actually wrote in the book that I didn't think Eric deserved to be released. I didn't. But Eric stepped on so many toes that he got himself behind the 8 ball, and he never really got back out from behind it. Eric did a lot of very good things. He managed the game well. He understood situations. We practiced them well. We practiced them too hard, but he did a lot of good things. Eric could be condescending, and he did that to the players sometimes, and it hurt him. And people got upset with some of the way he handled things. I think as time, he was maturing. I think if he had kept going, it would have worked out. Don't forget now when, Brett Favre, at one point in time in that year, we were 8-3. We just beat New England, went down and beat Tennessee. We were pretty good. And then Brett got hurt, and we just collapsed. We collapsed, and then they let Eric go. But Rex walked into a very good football team. Now, Herman took over a good football team with a Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells football team. Come on, that was a heck of a team. We were good. Now, some of them were getting a little old, but it was a good team. I'm not 1,000% sure that Herm Edwards ever really totally appreciated what a good team he inherited. I'm really not sure. Now, he himself handled a lot of things well because he was good with the players, but he was not prepared with game clock management, game situations, timeouts. He was not a game planner, really, even on defense. He was really not much of a game planner. So he did a nice job with turnovers and penalties, things like that. He worked hard with that. Now, I helped him a lot with penalties, but he did a good job with that stuff. But he was probably the least prepared in that situation. And it came to hurt us a couple of times. Actually, as I've watched him in college, he actually is better prepared now. Sometimes you work in the media, you can prepare yourself a little bit because now you got to get in front of a crowd and talk about a situation, and you're actually better prepared than that guy was maybe being a head coach. He had never been a coordinator, and those kind of things. But there were a lot of things that he did pretty well, and it's just kind of I think he fired too many people. He fired too many. I should have done a better job with them there. I think I could have had more influence. Of course, he'd fired a guy I didn't even know. He'd fire him on a weekend. I would come in Monday. So that was a little frustrating for me. He's still doing it. Man, he fires everybody. He fires. I get it. That's upsetting to me. That's disappointing to me.
Absolutely.
And I could have done a little better job at that than I did. But anyway, and then Rex of the three was because he inherited a good team, and Rex was fun to be with. A lot of the crazy stuff that Rex taught. Trust me, it never, ever, ever showed up in a football team. Never. We had nobody was ever late. Nobody missed a practice. We had a great time. And, Rex would come up and say something crazy, we'd all get a kick out of it. But Rex was fun to work with. I used to love being in my office at night, and he'd come in, he'd say, I'm going to show you something, West. He'd get on the board, and he'd draw something up. And I mean, he was Rex was a very good technical football coach. Very, very good. He could draw a play with anybody. He knew football. And so that was fun. I don't think he fought quite hard enough to keep it from moving in a direction that it went. I wish he would have pushed it a little bit harder. And I think he could have kept that, because the image that Rex wanted in a football team was the team that we had in those championship games. He loved to run the football. He was going to control the clock. We were going to win on defense, da-da-da-da-da. That was Rex. And we drifted away from that and became a different type team. And Rex never rebounded anywhere he ever went. He had it right there in the palm of his hand, and it kind of got away from him.
It seemed that, maybe from us, that especially like you said, the championship games. I mean, that as a Jet fan who was born in '87 and never got to see a Super Bowl with the Jets, like a lot of Jet fans today. I mean, I romanticize about those years, and it seemed like Rex Ryan had almost the love and support of the locker room. It seemed like he was just a player's coach, and they would go out there and battle for him. And I just wanted to see maybe we're just putting it out there, because I read your quote online of what I could find from the book, and you said that obviously he never brought that kind of media attention into the locker room. Was he a player's coach? Was he a guy that the players had no problem just sweating and bleeding and tearing it up for?
There's sometimes two definitions of a player's coach. You can have a coach that the players can relate to, or a coach that the players coach can sometimes take advantage of. Rex was not that guy.
Okay.
Rex was absolutely not. We had a disciplined football team. Rex was big on doing the right thing. That was his thing. He used to say it a lot. Just do the right thing. And if you don't, then I'll step in. Rex had no trouble doing that. He did it well. But what Rex was kind of like, in some ways, almost like a big kid. He loves the game. He loves putting on the shirt, the big crazy shirt, rooting for the team. He loves that kind of stuff. And he was fun to be around. And it was a lot of good. Our practices were very competitive. Very competitive. Very few people missed practice. I mean, we didn't have problems with that. We had guys that were there every day, and it was battles. You get against our offense and defense, they would go after it. And my practices, forget about it. Mine are like World War III anyway, so you don't have to worry about me. But it was fun, and Rex I think he did a very good job with that, and the players did relate to him. I think when Rex was in his element, when we had the type of team that he firmly believed in, he had the type of team. He had a kind of a mathematical thing he used to use, where if you take the number of plays and the number of rushes compared to the number of pass attempts, he had a whole thing. He used to love to figure it all out. That was his theory to how you're going to win, and he did it. He did it very well, and he believed in it. He absolutely believed in it.
So, Coach, we've talked about your favorite coaches that you've worked with the Jets. Over the course of your career, you've worked with a lot of great players. It doesn't have to be a returner or anything like that, or even an every down player. But who was your favorite player to work with? Just as somebody in their spirit that you like being around.
That's really a hard question. Toward the end of my career, of course, I'll go to Taysom Hill to New Orleans, because he's pretty special.
Absolutely.
He had never dressed an NFL game till I came there.
Wow.
And I got him. I saw him come in the locker room. I went like, "Whoa, who's this guy? Whoa, whoa!" And so that's how that started. So I'd have to go with him. Guys that I just love being around. One guy with the Jets that I absolutely love being around was Eric Smith. Eric Smith, not Brad. Now, Brad I love being around too, because Brad was so talented. But Eric Smith, he was that guy that could do everything. He was the best punt blocker in the league then. He could do it. I would make an argument, this might be a tough one, but I would bet some money on this, that Eric Smith was on the field for more special teams touchdowns than maybe anybody in history.
Wow.
No.
I might bet on that one.
That's a
But we
tremendous stat.
scored a lot, and he was right there in everything. Punt block, you name it, he was right there every time.
I think Taysom Hill owes you some money then.
Yeah.
Bill definitely owes me some money.
I would say,
I mean, he's one of my favorite people. He's just a great guy. And then, of course, you got to go back to Miami when I had a guys like Zach Thomas or Larry Izzo. Larry was a kid that I went down to Rice University to work out, and everybody thought I was crazy. I remember our scouts told me not to go. They said, Mike, a scout from Miami he said, Mike, the Canadian League turned him down. I said, I don't care.
Wow.
I said, I don't care how big he is. He said, Mike, he's a linebacker. He was 5'9.5". He weighed 213 pounds. He played 13 years. He has 4 Super Bowl rings. He went to 4 Pro Bowls.
wow.
I got the right guy. I figured it out.
Oh yeah.
Because I just, again, it's a different game. It's not the linebacker. We're not talking about Lawrence Taylor here. That's who he is. He played out in the middle of the field. And he was very good at that. He was good at it. So those are the kind of guys, without being returners. An interesting guy at the Jets that I loved that I had just for a short time because he was toward the end of his career, but was Kenyatta Wright, a linebacker. Oh, was he tough. He was so tough. And the fact that he didn't go to the Pro Bowl that year was an absolute disgrace. Because he was the best player, best special teams player in the AFC. He made a play against the Giants on a kickoff coverage. It's when the Giants had Brian Mitchell. They brought him in at the end of his career to return. They're running a middle wedge kickoff return. We kick off. They're running up the middle. Kenyatta Wright ran down and smacked their guy in the wedge, which was an offensive lineman, by the way, blew him right into the returner and knocked them both right on the ground. It could be you can break down film for 100 years, you won't find a better play than that. Oh, was he tough? He was tough. And so it was fun talking to him for the book too, because he loved it, and he teased me a little bit, but that's kind of fun. I got a kick out of it. This is fun. But he was one of those kind of guys. So when you get guys like that, Chris Hayes, you remember Chris used to play for the Jets, was such a good player. He was probably a key ingredient in maybe believe it or not, one of my all-time favorite New York Jet games. The canceled 9/11 game when we had to go out to Oakland and play at the end of the year. And we had to win to get in the playoffs. We blocked the punt, and then John Hall kicked the longest field goal that had ever been kicked in that stadium. Herman Edwards was screaming for Hail Mary. I sent the field goal team on to him. The road. And he kicked it. So it was one of my favorite games ever, and Chris was a big part of that. So those are the kind of guys, the things that they did, I loved. I just loved it.
Coach, I have one question. I know in the book you weren't the biggest fan of the Tim Tebow experiment in New York, but was Taysom Hill the type of guy what you wish Tim Tebow would have been for the New York Jets at that time?
Yeah, Tim's just a different player. That's a good question. It's an interesting analogy. Tim Tebow was at the right place at the right time in college. He was part of the great football team that had tremendous talent, and Tim did a very good job of managing it and deserved to win the Heisman. Tim did a good job. But Tim's not a great quarterback. I mean, ask Bill Belichick. He let him go. I mean, it's not just me. I'm not making this up. He had him too. When we brought him in, it was the idea that he was going to be a jack of all trades. He would be a wildcat quarterback. Now, Tim, he did his part. He gained weight. He got bigger and stronger. I mean, he looked great. And then, he was going to be part of a package. Well, I was going to use them only on my punt team and then run fakes with them, which we did, and we did it very well. We had a lot of success with it. But I'm the only one that upheld my end of the bargain, because the other guys must not have got the note, because they never used them. And I thought that was very, very, very unfair and very unprofessional. And I think in Tim Tebow, if you put him in that category, run him in and out, let him do some things, I think we would have seen an interesting scenario. It never developed. But now, Taysom Hill in that role, come on, he's the best. He's the best hybrid player in league history. There's nobody better than that guy.
He's a Swiss Army knife. He's incredible to watch.
And he can throw. He can throw the ball.
He really threw the ball.
So Taysom Hill, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And he was a Pro Bowl type special teams player. He could do it all. He could do it all. I mean, he's 6'2", 230 pounds. He's all muscle. He runs 4.4. I mean, he can fly.
Yeah,
People have no idea how fast he is. And he's just tough and very, very talented football player.
You brought up, fake plays, trick plays. Would you say it's when you decide to call for something like that, is it more that, it's a necessity at that point of the game, or is it more a gut feeling? You're looking at the defense and it's like, oh, this is going to work, and they're not going to be happy about it. We're going with it.
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
For me, it was most of the time that we needed it. It was something we needed. I was in my whole career, I've only ran one that I didn't make. Only ran one time. My whole career. It's the Saints. I was 100%. And Sean Payton is as tough as Sean's a heck of a coach now. Trust me, Sean Payton's as good a coach as there is. He never knew one time when I called a fake. He never knew it. I just did it. He trusted me, and I was 100%. So what are you going to say?
Yeah, right.
He came.
Can't argue with success.
He came. I had already sent the play in. He came over to me and said, "Mike, were you thinking of running a fake here?" I said, "You better go tell Drew because I already called it." Tell him to get ready, and we got it. But no, I think those, to me, I wasn't just like I wanted to run them for kicks. I mean, I know we played the Rams, and they ran a million of them, and they had a realm of success. They did some things very well with it, but they also failed quite a number of times. And it started back when Jeff Fisher was coaching there, and they were even in St. Louis. But to me, I was never truly enamored by that because they were terrible. It's easy to run a fake when you stink. Nobody cares. If you get it, fine. If you don't, who cares? Who the hell cares? And so, but that wasn't the case of any of those teams that I was on. Because when we were running it, we were right in the game, and we're fighting for playoff spots. So I think
Absolutely.
I have a lot to lose, and I believe in it. But I based mine more on need than on just the fact that I could get them. Where I did do a little bit of that was with that, before they changed the rule, with that onside kick thing where you used to be able to drive the ball into the ground, and then it would go real high, and you didn't have to give the opponent the chance to catch the. Now there's a rule: if you do that, he has to have an opportunity to catch the ball. Right. Then we should just knock the heck out of him and get the ball. we were tremendous at it. Tremendous at it. That was pretty cool. I did that just because I knew we could get it. And Lindo Murray was tremendous at it. And then I did a little bit with Mike Nugent once in a while. We got it there with Mike too. So, but most of the time, I felt it was something we had to have in a game. We had to maybe steal a possession to win the game. Something I was prepared to do.
Love it. I mean, it's amazing how people often forget how just exciting and explosive, especially the way the Jets called it. It's not like, you didn't see it coming. It was just boom. Oh shit, we got the ball back. Let's go. We're back in this. I mean, as a Jet fan, I'm just sitting there screaming, the up and down, the roller coaster emotions. I loved it.
It's a great, it's a great part of the game. A lot of it's been neutralized with rules, and some of it very, very, very well. But safety is a good thing, but at the same time, some of it's a little bit under a guise of safety, and it's really they've taken it a little further than it probably has to go. I wrote a part of the book how I had a couple suggestions to keep some plays, and still be safe. I'll give you a statistical an answer for this real quick. I'll make it quick. My first 30 years in the NFL, not counting PATs and field goals, okay, not counting those plays, whether you kick them or defend them, all right. I averaged 22 plays a game. That's what I averaged for 30 years, 22 plays. Now kickoff. Remember back then, almost every kickoff was returned. Every kickoff you had to cover. All right, my 2 years with the New Orleans Saints, 7.
Wow.
I went from 22 plays to 7.
Jeez.
So I'm not counting a kickoff for a touchback. I mean, I'm 74. Yeah. I can run down a kickoff for a touchback. For crying out loud. We have 4 of us could go down the field. We'd be all right. Just go down. Don't worry about hitting anybody. Thank God. It's changed so dramatically, and it also changes how you make up your roster, because your roster is different than it was most of my career. And I believe one of the reasons I wrote the book is that when I started, special teams were basically non-plausible. They were just, okay, A couple coaches made a little notoriety, like George Allen, but all they did was have a little discipline to it, that's all. So then, I was part of taking it to kind of a pinnacle. And it had never been there before, and it'll never be there again. That's just the reality. And it's changed, and it's just gone away. Those 9 guys that led that NFL in returns. I mean, there was one year I was at the Jets. This was really cool. We were playing out in Oakland, and I was doing my scouting report, which back then was 80 pages. Now you could write on the back of a match cover the way it goes now. But back then I did 80 pages. Anyway, and at that time I looked at Santana Moss was leading the league in punt returns. Okay. Chad Morton was leading the league in kickoff returns. And Chad Morton was second in the league in punt returns. We were pretty good. Yeah. We were pretty damn good.
I'd say so.
We really were. And so I had those guys. And that's how, I'm looking at this thinking, whoo, these guys are pretty good. You better make sure you do something with this outfit. So it was pressure on me to try to make it successful, and it helped us. It helped us get in position. I mean, I don't think you could take a year of all those years when I was there that we were in the playoffs, that if we weren't a viable contributor, would have we been a playoff team? My answer is absolutely no. We would have not. Absolutely no.
I agree. Absolutely.
Well, Coach, I know we're running a little long here. I know we appreciate you for your time.
You guys, it's up to you. You do what you want. I'm not.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, we'll probably wrap up in a couple of minutes. But I know Nick has one more question for you, and then we do. I just want to thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely.
But Nick, I know you have the last question, so we'll wrap this up here.
Yeah. So, Coach, my favorite moment in at least my Jets history for special teams, I was at the game Jets versus Bengals Thanksgiving. My sister and I went. Brad Smith runs a kickoff back for a touchdown with one shoe on. And that's probably my favorite special teams moment with the Jets. But what's your favorite in your career? A lot of games, a lot of teams. What's your favorite moment in your career?
That's a tough one. It's in some ways, because they're all the different segments. And that's really a difficult question. Oh boy, it's almost hard not to. The overtime kickoff return up in Buffalo with Chad Morton to win the game. Back then, they kick off us. We run for a touchdown game. That's our second one of the day, by the way. Best special teams game ever played in NFL history. I'll argue that fact. But if I maybe had to pick one, it would be on opening night, the 10-year anniversary for 9/11, which was one of the greatest NFL games that I don't care when it was the way the NFL's supposed to be. It was a beautiful night. Everybody was at President Bush was at the game. He did the coin toss. They had the largest flag ever in the whole world. It covered the whole field. It took all of us to help hold it. It was like the most emotional night and a great football game. And Joe McKnight blocked a punt to win the game. And it was a punt block that I had put together years ago and saved and called it. And he blocked that punt, and then Isaiah Trufant picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown. And that was an incredible football game, and that led to the win. And it's a shame, the season started like that, and then it kind of leveled off.
Yeah.
But that was a heck of a game. Everybody and every celebrity, every sports fan, every politician was at that game. I mean, the field was, it's Denzel Washington. I mean, it was craziness. To me, it was what New York's all about. New York wants to be at the epicenter, and trust me, they were at the epicenter that night. Okay, that's as good as it gets. And that play was such a dramatic play, and it was very special to me because I had drawn it years and years ago. I could show. Actually, I drew it up in my book. And maybe if I had to pick one, it's hard to pick one because there's quite a few, but that one was pretty tough to beat because that was such a special night.
Yeah, rest in peace, Joe McKnight.
Yes, Joe. Great kid. Not a violent person ever. And I totally agree with you on that one. It was in a road rage incident in New Orleans. Yeah, Joe was a good kid. I loved him.
I got chills just you talking about that moment. I'm not a Jet fan, but I remember that game, watching that, and just everything around the 9/11 10-year anniversary. And Yeah, I definitely got chills just hearing you talk about that again. That was a special moment, special game.
Special night. Special night for New York. If you're going to be in New York, that's what it's all about. And that's what I experienced a lot of when I was there. And that will resonate me. As I've said many times, those times, that was the best time of my life. I will never, ever change that opinion. That's the best time of my life.
As a Jets fan, that was the best time of my life too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we could talk football all night with you. It's been great talking with you.
Absolute honor.
We appreciate your time. So I guess that's it. But thank you again.
I'll tell you what you could try. When you get into training camp and you get ready to go, it'd be interesting. The book comes out July 12th. So, a couple of weeks after that, you're starting training camp. My book's out. It might be fun to do this again. It would be good for me. It would be fun for me. And then we could talk about what you're seeing and what you see with the Jets a little bit and some of the things that have gone on. And it might be another time to do it. And I'd be happy to do that.
That'd be tremendous.
We would really appreciate that. We'd love to talk more football with you.
I'll be up there. I'm going to come up. I'm going to do some radio things with ESPN and SNY, and I want to go to Jets training camp. It would be fun to maybe sometime right after that to do it all again and to talk about what's more current, and it would be good for me. So I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We'll have read your book by then.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope so. Please. Yeah.
Absolutely. Once again, Figure It Out, by Mike Westhoff. 32-year journey while revolutionizing pro football special teams. So that'll be out everywhere. You said July 12th, correct?
12th.
Okay.
But it's out now with the publisher, right? What's the publisher's name again?
Mascot Books.
Mascot Books.
So check it out. We'll definitely be buying it. So thank you again, Coach. We really do appreciate it.
Good. I hope you do. It'll be a lot of fun. Hey, thanks,
absolutely,
guys. You were great. You guys did a good job. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Praise from Caesar.
All right, and that was our interview with Mike Westhoff, presented by our sponsors. Nick, I love when he said he was going to come back. Your face, you lit up like a child on Christmas.
Damn right I did. It's fucking Mike Westhoff. Are you kidding me? Just now, I was hearing, re-listening to our interview for the second time. I actually started to Google, YouTube, some of the things he was talking about, and you talked about the 9/11 game, and I was like, that was against the Cowboys. I remembered that. I believe it was Monday Night Football, wasn't it?
It was either Sunday night or Monday night. It might have been Monday night.
I think it might have been Monday or Sunday night. I remember that. We opened up the game, and I don't think they've beaten us since that game.
It was a big comeback, too. The Jets were trailing.
It was. I want to say they ran one back on us in that game.
It might have.
I feel, or we ran back one on them. Something like that.
Well, he was saying the block punt into a
touchdown, and
no?
Revis got that ball back because he got an interception on the next drive.
Yeah,
on Tony Romo. And then, of course, Nick Folk with the Folk Hero gets the game-winning field goal. Yeah, man, we just did an interview with Mike Westhoff.
How awesome is that? And the fact that he wants to come and talk to us again. My own family doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
That's a fact.
I like that he said he enjoyed it. He even said he TJ. He said TJ's questions are better than the New York media, which was awesome. And which is true though, because when New York media, when they lose a game, they're like, "Well, how did that game make you feel?" We're here to talk about feelings. It makes
not
you feel
good.
You know what? I think it's easier to be a fan of the team and have more emotion invested than it's my job, so I got to come up with questions. When you're a fan, you want to know these things. The little intricacies make a difference, and not just the typical, like you said, hey, you lost. What do you think you could have done different? I don't know. Win.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's evident. A lot of the media hates Rich Cimini hates the Jets. It's obvious to every Jets fan that Rich Cimini hates the Jets.
And Manish Mehta, he hated the Jets too.
Manish Mehta hates human beings in general because he's definitely not one of us.
Mehta hates sports.
Yeah. Damn, Mike Westhoff. I can listen to him talk about sports. I can listen to talk about. I really hope he does the Audible, man. I really do. I hope it's on Audible, and I hope he reads his own book. Because hearing it with his own voice, I mean, having talked to him already, I'm glad we talked to him just now because I can hear his when I read this book, and I will 100% read this book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to hear his voice in my head reading the book to me. And damn, if it wasn't a pleasure listening to him, just hearing his thoughts on football. And he put Rook and I in a fucking play, man.
He did.
He
I was riding the pine.
Me. He corrected me. He was like, last time you did this, don't do that again.
At least you were involved.
That's true.
Well, he said the four of us could actually go run down in today's NFL and do a kickoff, as long as it was a touchback.
Yeah, he did say, yeah.
And then my immediate thought was like, why are we talking about it? Let's be about it. Let's go do that right now. The four of us can go do that.
The problem is I would want to all right, I got to do something memorable. I'm still hitting some money.
I pull my
touchback. You're gonna earn.
I'd run down that sideline bare ass.
Dude, I gotta try to get it from the publisher because me and my family are going on a nice little cruise 4th of July weekend. Like into the next week, 9-day cruise. So
invite,
dude, come on.
Oh yeah, I'll just go fuck myself. It's cool.
Everybody's invited, but I can't think of anything better than sitting poolside, on my way into the Caribbean with a ice cold Corona and Mike Westhoff's book, just living out those Jets moments and those moments in his career, and just from his take, from his side of it, just that insight is tremendous, dude. So I got to get on that. I got to see if they have like a couple, like a 1 day or 2 day shipping to get that.
Yeah.
So my wife's not going to see me the entire babe. I'm not done with the book yet. Well, you missed dinner. Yeah, whatever. There's more dinner.
I can eat tomorrow. This book's here now.
You just eat late night buffet in the cruise, right?
Absolutely, dude. I get room service. Yeah, you got to turn the light off. Like, no, I'm invested.
I think the best thing about talking with Coach Westhoff was
actually getting to talk to Coach Westhoff.
Well, yes. Yeah, of course, but I think he's a fan of the game, man. It's not his job. Yeah. It's like he really loves the game, and I think at this point in his career, he's been in a lot of locations. I think he's actually a fan of the Jets. His time here was so memorable for him.
Yeah,
that he's a fan of the Jets.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite time in his life. Yeah. So I mean, and it's incredible because obviously we weren't alive then, and when he started his career through special teams, and it's funny because you could see how he's right that special teams was like a non-factor kind of. You threw some guys out there, guys that couldn't make offense or defense. They played it out. Better than being on the practice squad. Get the ball back or try to block the punt, but just go out there and kind of take up space. And
nobody had aspirations to be a good
absolutely. And then Mike Westhoff comes into the mix, and you got the ability to score points. You know what I mean? And at the end of that interview, he said, with the Saints, it used to be 22 plays a game that he'd count as special teams making, going out there and making some kind of play or maneuver or having a chance to make a play. He counted 7 in one game because of the new touchback rules and how they kind of neutered the game in that way. And he even alluded to it, to just almost on the guise of safety, where some of it is safety related, but other things it was just unnecessary. And as a fan of football, it kind of sucks. I understand you don't want to see somebody get clobbered out there. A dude, carrying 250 pounds of pure muscle running down the field at you full speed, full sprint, and wiping you out on a kickoff. But at the same time, it's so boring to just watch touchback after touchback. It's making the kickoff unnecessary at this point.
Yeah, it's so funny. You talk about back in the day, special teams really didn't matter. One of the longest tenured players on the Jets right now. Do you know who that is?
No.
Thomas Hennessy, the long snapper.
Wow. What has he got?
He's on the team since 2017.
That's like the Giants. The Giants had I can't remember his name right now. It's escaping me, but he was in the team for like 15 years. He's a captain every year, and he was a long snapper. It's just it's important to the game. It kind of sucks they got rid of it. Kind of with that he's saying the difference between 22 to 7 plays a game. They did neuter it. They're saying it's safety, but it was a big part of the game, and it was an exciting part of the game. When there's a punt return or there's a kick return for a touchdown. I mean, it still happens every now and then in the NFL, but it doesn't happen as often as it used to. And that's
right. And it's hard. I would assume it would be hard to be a special teams player, knowing that, you could put all the effort and enthusiasm in the world into it and give 110%. But when the game dictates that you still can't make a play, it kind of kills the momentum. It kills your, drive out there to get out there and make a play, get me the ball type of deal. It's just, you're kind of just jogging down the field like, all right, take the knee.
Yeah.
Whatever. On to the offense.
Wave the hand.
Yeah. You know what
moving
I mean?
on.
Dude, but that's special teams, especially with his tenure in the Jets. It was just explosive plays, and you saw it every week. And
he said 9 guys.
And appreciate it.
He said 9 guys, and he said Justin Miller. I was like, Clemson, number 22, cornerback, drafted first round. I remember this. It was like going in a time machine to like a good time. Dude, it felt great and it hurt at the same time.
I think I spent a little too much in Atlantic City because, again, another Atlantic City story. I was there in NHC in Rira in Tropicana, Irish pub that's no longer there in Tropicana, watching the Jets kick the shit out of New England and knock them out of the playoffs, and the Jets move on. And I cannot tell you how awesome that was and how amazing it was to just watch the Pats fans walk out of the bar. And I think it was just me and my buddy Vito at the time, the only Jet fans in there, just like pointing at the door like, Vito, see you later. Take it easy. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right, we know we could talk football all night, but I do want to move on because we do have two more things to do. We have the Pga Golf Picks. We do quick, presented by Piper Golf. Promo code SCORE10, 10% off your entire purchase. TJ,
by the way, you guys are gonna have to start doing LIV picks soon.
I was gonna say I don't think any of the betting sites have picked up Live Golf, have they?
They haven't. No, I haven't seen it.
Is it LIV or is it Live?
Live. It's pronounced Live, yeah.
Like Tyler?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 54. I thought it was like Roman numerals or something.
Mm-hmm. No. Well, I'll start with my pick. I'm going to pick Patrick Cantley here, plus 1,200. I think he's finished in the top 15 a few times, and he's had a couple of top 15 finishes this year. Maybe I think this might be the week that he breaks through. Other pick's going to be I'm going to go back with Tony Finau, plus 3,400 as a winner, and and give me Sam Burns plus 1,700 as well. Those are my winner picks. Those are the 3. And we've been pretty good at winners. We're 4 or 5 or last 5 tournaments on the PGA. And then we went 3 for 3 this year on the majors so far. The Open's coming up.
Yeah.
So we're doing pretty well here. We're pretty hot.
Absolutely. So again, this is the Travelers. Great tournament.
Yeah.
After watching the U.S. Open, it's hard to stay away from the 2 favorites. Scheffler and McIlroy, both of them plus 950. I'm putting money on both of those guys. They both played tremendous. They, faltered down the stretch, but they were in the mix. High level of golf being played, especially on that course, especially the way the course is set up. I got to put money on both of them. Somebody that I'm looking at for a little bit more value for your bet, a little bit of extra money, I would say I'd love to see it because I think he's been playing a lot better this year and making a name for himself and been in the mix a lot more. Harold Varner, plus 5,500. I wouldn't say a long shot, but it's up there. But if you're betting with me, you got your 2, guys up there, plus 950. Scheffler, McIlroy, I think they'll both be in the mix. Like I said, tremendous outings in the U.S. Open. But then Varner for the money aspect of it. If we get lucky, that's a big hit right there.
Oh, yeah.
But I just can't see Rory or Scheffler not coming out and dominating.
No, I agree with you. For them, if you want to do top 10 on those 2 guys, they're Scotty's plus 150 and McIlroy is plus 140 if you like the top 10s. I say before, usually when we like our winners, if you don't want to put a bet on them to win it outright and you still want to get some sort of, get in on our picks here, you just go to the top 10. There's usually pretty good odds in them. So for Sam Burns plus 145 to be in the top 10, Patrick Cantley's plus 125, Tony Finau's plus 230. So those are 3 guys that I had there. I'm also going my actual. 10, I was going to say, so for my top 10, I'm going to put Harold Varner in there for a top 10 just to keep plus
him
470.
Plus 470.
I agree with
those odds. Yeah. And I've hit on this guy before. He's been in the PGA for a while now. But
was he cute?
What?
You said you hit on this guy before. Was he cute?
handsome as hell, very fit guy. Scott
Tight like a
Stallings
tiger.
made me money so far this year, and he's, like I said, he's been in the PGA a while, kind of having a reemergent of a season. Just his game is dialed in, and he's been in the mix a lot, and he's been leader of a couple tournaments this year so far. I guess to everybody's surprise, but I think his game is just that good, and all around made improvements to where he's just killing it right now. So Scott Stallings going off, give me 1 second, at plus 1,100 to be in the top 10. I mean, I'll take that. I will take that.
Yeah, definitely. And those, I just gave the top 10 bets if you want to. If you don't want to do my winners, you want to do top 10. Those are just the odds to them. But I'm gonna go with Joel Damon.
Yeah,
He had a pretty good round this U.S. Open. He was a top 10. That's plus 500. And then my boy Christian Bezenderhout plus 550 top 10. So those are my picks. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully stay hot.
absolutely. I'm trying to find right now. I can't find on FanDuel to miss a cut right now.
I don't know if I saw it.
While we're talking about golf, quick shout out to TaylorMade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about TaylorMade and their customer service. TJ, if you would be so kind, it's your story. I'll let you tell it.
Absolutely. So last week I'm at the driving range hitting my beautiful TaylorMade sim driver, and I hit one off the face. It wasn't a great shot, but still caught it off the face, and I hear a nice pop. And the carbon fiber crown comes popping off. One solid piece just came unglued, and I reached out to TaylorMade. I'm like, hey, listen, I got this driver pretty much at a charity golf outing that we do at work, Department of Sanitation Humble Society. Got this driver. I don't have a receipt for it, obviously. What can I do? The guy on the phone said, listen, either way, you don't have the receipt. Don't worry about it. I would still put it through our warranty department. Very simple, right through their website. Take a couple pictures the way they actually take pictures, give all your information, send it in. And I think it was about, 16 hours later, the very next day, they reached back out to me. Hey, we saw what's going on. You're covered. We're going to send you a new driver. Thank you guys so much. That's so awesome. Blah, 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 blah. They reached back out. Yeah, no problem if you have any questions or anything like that. But just to let you know, you're getting a brand new Sim 2 driver. To your specs, stiff flex shaft. I was like, wait a second. I was like, well, I'm getting upgraded now too? I was like, no way. And that thing was here in 4 days. It's sitting right over there in my golf bag. And I'm playing Friday, so I cannot wait to test this bad boy out. How do you be customer service like that?
Golf clap for TaylorMade.
Absolute pure class. There's no customer service like that anymore. I told them, I said,
Razor Computers also has amazing customer service.
You cannot. It's gone by the wayside in kind of today's society, and you just can't. I don't know, upsell tremendous customer service enough, because how simple it was, how polite they were, how classy they were about it. We're not talking about something that's 20, 30, 40 bucks. We're talking about them replacing my $500 driver with a $550 driver. The year later upgrade, and it's just, thank you very much. I'm sitting here, like, in my mind, when I'm sending that, going through that process of just putting the warranty stuff through, thinking, listen, if they throw me like $200 off, a TaylorMade driver on their website, I'd be happy as a pig in shit. That if that's all they could do for me, great, awesome. But I've been a TaylorMade customer. I've had the R7 irons, R7 driver, upgraded to the R11 driver when it came out. I've had the Speed Blade irons. I just upgraded to the TaylorMade Stealth irons, which I absolutely love. The other day we were playing par 5, and I am about 243 yards off. I tight fairway, hit my hybrid, didn't pull my driver, was scared. Didn't know if I was going to keep it in the fairway, pulled hybrid, put it down the left side, have a look at the green, 240 something yards away, pull my 5 iron, and I put it to the back of the green. I was like, Chris McCormick was with me. Shout out to Chris McCormick. He's like, dude, that was 240 yards out plus. He goes, how'd you put it on the green? I was like, I have no idea. I was like, that wasn't my swing. That's all this iron right here. I don't hit my 4-iron 240. Dude, I hit my, like I said, I hit my hybrid off the tee. I hit that like 230.
Yeah.
So just absolutely love TaylorMade clubs. I love the R&D that goes into it. If you're a gamer like me, a weekend warrior that, you know, you can't really hit the blades and you want a game improvement iron that's going to get you out there and have fun and you're going to shoot lower scores. I love the stealth irons. And I just, like I said, cannot wait to get out there and hit that Sim 2 driver. Like I'm babying it. I take it out every day since I got it. And I look at it like, I can't believe I have this in my hands right now. They just sentenced me.
I also recently got a Sim 2 driver for my birthday. And I'm waiting for somebody to invite me to go golfing so I can break it out. But nobody loves me. So...
Dude, nobody ever reaches out to me to go golfing. I just have to put a random foursome in and hope people come and play.
I'm fairly confident I reached out to both of you about 2 days ago about going golfing. Yes, Monday.
Yeah, I was in upstate.
I know. I was fucking myself. I got it. But I think based on your story, I've been needing a new hybrid, so I think I'm gonna go get me a TaylorMade hybrid.
And that's the crazy part, dude. I mean. I'm not trying to downplay the new equipment, but I tested out the Stealth Hybrid this year just to see if it was time to upgrade my TaylorMade burner, which is probably 10 years old at this point, 8 to 10 years old. And just the comparison, I'm like, this burner's still good, man. It still has plenty of pop, and I'm still rocking it. And I absolutely love
quality, it. Though. It's just quality.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those things where, I mean, companies go out of their way now to just put statistics into kind of when they're hoping that their product fails. So you buy more through their company of, you know, a replacement for the product that gets you through a couple of years. And then it systematically just lets down. I mean, I think Apple had to admit through a lawsuit that they purposely slow down their phone. So you buy a new generation of phone.
Yeah, they did.
And they purposely crap it out. So it just goes to show you that, like, when this company, you know, golf clubs aren't cheap. It's not cheap equipment, but you get the bang for your buck with TaylorMade, and I will be a lifelong customer. Shout out to them. Thank you very much. You've made me exceptionally happy, and now I'm going to go out and try to break 80. The hell with it.
There you go.
Go for the gusto.
They made me happy, too, because they made you happy, bro.
Yeah, there you go. And they got a free plug on the show, so that's good for them. But Piper Golf, go to their Score 10 off. Those are our golf picks. That's TJ's plug for TaylorMade.
Real quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I apologize, but real quick, just because Piper is one of our sponsors, and I was hysterical laughing. My cousin hits one in Ballyowen up in Crystal Springs, New Jersey. Gorgeous course. Hits one into the rough. The rough is very thick and filled with like a lot of fescue. Hits one in there, goes over. He's like, yeah, I found my ball. Punches it out, rolls up right to the front of the bunker, leaves it short of the green, and he's going to chip on. He goes, wait a second, where's my ball? I'm like, dude, that's your ball. You hit it right there. He's like, that's my ball. I'm not playing a Piper. I'm like, so you hit the wrong ball out of the rough. I said, but congratulations, you just got a brand new Piper golf ball. I was like, put it up there, dude. I think he stuffed it within like 3 or 4 feet. I'm like, you see?
Yeah. Piper Golf, everyone loves it. Everyone's starting to join the movement. But so we want to do something new here. I know we're running, short on time, so we're going to try to do this quickly because there's some stories that I'm going to call this a quick rundown. I know we have 7 minutes left before we do it, so maybe everyone just gives a quick comment about each of these things. Some of the funny things that have happened recently in sports. This happened last week. We weren't on, but I wanted to mention this again. Joe Madden gets a mohawk to fire up his players during a losing streak, and then immediately gets fired before showing them.
Oh, God.
It's just
sucks for Joe. He's
a 70-year-old man with a mohawk.
Dude, great coach. I mean, one of those old school guys. You know, he'd be the guy to light your foot on fire and give the old hot foot to get his team going.
Yeah, he would.
Shave his head into a mohawk to get something going. It's just unfortunate. I mean, that team's having a bad run right now. I don't think it's all on Joe Madden.
It's definitely
decided to go with change.
I mean, he's gone already now, and the new coach, they're still losing.
Yeah,
he's been having a bad run for 20 years.
Right. I don't think that's like a faux pas on Joe Madden. I think that's more just an accolade. I think that's just a testament to the type of coach he is and the type of manager and players manager he is. So good for Joe Madden. Good for his mohawk. I love it.
I just got to say he should have went with the with those glasses. He should have just went with the Wild Thing haircut.
Yeah, he should have.
Skull and crossbones in the middle of his glasses.
So Stanley Cup final. Actually, the game just went final. Colorado won in overtime with a comeback, 3-2. I was going to ask you guys what your prediction would be for the series, but Colorado's up 3-1. I'm not saying it's over, but
no, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
Little Caesar is now the official pizza of Pizza Hut. Nick, what do you think about
Little
this?
Caesars, the official pizza
I'm sorry,
of Pizza
that
Hut?
didn't make sense.
I'm sorry, of the NFL over Pizza Hut.
Little Caesars is trash. Like
I know, I don't get it.
Granted, they don't pick.
That.
Listen, real good pizza doesn't come from any chain at all. But the only two tolerable chains that exist are Papa John's and Domino's, and that's only because I know how bad like the floor is their floor is here. Little Caesar's floor is
the floor.
I can't get any lower. Like if this is like the greatest pizza in the world, Papa John's and Domino's, they're over here somewhere. Like as their ceiling and their floor is very low. But damn, Little Caesars is like the dirtiest freaking pizza in the history of mankind.
And the NFL, they're now the official pizza of the NFL.
Oh, God.
I gotta say,
NFL, love yourself more.
Yeah, I'm more of a, if I'm ordering from somewhere, especially outside of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, I'm going either Domino's or Pizza Hut. I absolutely loathe Papa John's. I think it's disgusting. I
like Papa John's better than
Domino's. I think it's the same thing as Domino's.
Nah, I'll take Domino's or Pizza Hut over Papa John's any day of the week. Suck it, Peyton Manning.
The only thing that Papa John's did that was different than Domino's was they gave you garlic butter and a bell pepper inside the box. Like other than that, it's pretty much the same shit.
That's true. Sauce Gardner. I'm said that weird because I say sauce weird. Sauce
Gardner.
Sauce Gardner paid $50K for the number one. Would you take that deal if you were number one? He gave you $50K.
No, not at all. If I was a veteran and a rookie wanted number one, the answer is no. Period.
TJ,
flat out no. I would never give a rookie number one. Personally, I don't like people that wear the number one. I really don't. Like I'm rooting for Sauce. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like you have to be some sort of egotistical maniac, and either you're trying to tell the world that you think you're number one, which okay, you do. I don't know if anybody else does, but you do. That's nice. Or you're insecure and you want them to think you're number one, so you wear number one. But either way, like number one to me is just a very like, look at me.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't think that was the question. And I'm a firm believer in $20 is $20. So for 50 grand, there's not many things I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? If Sauce Gardner walked on the field and was like, dude, we're having an Oreo race and you're the only one taking part in it. I'm like, all right, 50 grand. Give me that Oreo.
To be fair, he bought that number from DJ Reed, who just made millions of dollars on his deal. 50 grand is a bad night of day for him.
No, but again, good on him for saying, like, you really need this that bad? Good. Give me the 50 grand.
I would have been like, sorry, Rook, go take a walk. You're not getting shit from me.
I'll be honest with you. I probably wouldn't give my number up, even if it was for money. That's my number. There's a reason why
I wouldn't give it up either.
I wouldn't give it up. Lastly, because we're running out of time here, this is an old story, but Zach Collier, a 27-year-old teacher, sang the national anthem. He was scheduled to sing national anthem for the college World Series, the men's World Series. He lost his job because after singing the national anthem at the college softball World Series, he did the horns down, and they said that it violated NCAA sportsmanship, and they fired him. And now he lost his job. He can't sing the national anthem at the men's college World Series. What do you guys think about it?
That's awful.
I mean, listen, do I agree with the rule? No, but the rules are the rules. Like they brief you what to do. I'll give you an example. I through my job, I've been told like, hey, you can throw the first pitch out at a minor league ball game. Don't walk on the mound. That's what I got told. Okay. I am nobody special. All right. Zach Collier is nobody special. If I would have walked on the mound and they were like, we told you not to walk on the mound, you're never going to do that ever again. What could I possibly say to them? Like, other than, I guess I'm never going to throw it out again. Like, is it a stupid rule? Absolutely. I have boots on. I'm not going to ruin the mound.
I don't know if they told him that. I don't know if they told him you can't do this.
They told him, they probably told him, like, don't do any symbols at all. Don't do peace signs.
But if Texas scores, they go like this. That's okay. But you can't go like this back.
As the guy that sings the national anthem, no, you can't.
That's true. I guess you're right. All right, let's do two last things though before we get.
Wait, hold on. TJ had something to say.
No, I just think it's silly. I mean,
if
he was expressly told, like, dude, don't do anything silly like that. Just don't make it about you, whatever. But being in the moment and going with it and throwing a little shade, I'm okay with it. To not be allowed to sing the national anthem anymore, it's kind of a little ridiculous.
It's stupid. I agree with you, TJ. I'm with TJ on this one. NBA Finals, TJ, what do you think about it?
What is that?
It's unwatchable. That's what it was. Every game ended in double digits. Wasn't even competitive. It sucked. All of it was terrible. If you're an NBA fan, I don't know how you watched any of that finals.
I was unfortunately at Buffalo Wild Wings on Thursday I think that was the final game. No, am I crazy?
Yeah, it was Thursday. Yeah.
And it was about 45 seconds in, and it was not 12-3 or something like that. And a bunch of grown men screaming like it was like the ninth inning of the World Series. 45 seconds into this game, I'm like, it's 12-3, guys. Both teams are probably going to score about 115 more points. Are you going to scream like this every time somebody gets a basket? Like, I don't understand how you get so excited 45 seconds into a basketball game. Like, they're going to score 115 times more. Like, there's going to be 115 more points guaranteed. It's the NBA in 2022. They're going to score 130 points guaranteed. Yeah. Like, when I was a kid, if they scored 100, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's still a lot. Scoring 100 points is ridiculous. But it just goes to show you again, basketball is the easiest game that was ever invented. One man scored 100 points by himself. So clearly it must not be that challenging if you're tall. 130 points. Like, I'm like, I honestly just sat there like, seriously, you guys are screaming. It's
unwatchable.
It's 40. It's not like football or baseball or hockey where one score literally could be the difference in the game. You know, like literally like a football game can end 7-0, 7-3. It happens. A hockey game ends 1-0 a lot. A baseball game ends up 1-0, 2-0 a lot. You can win a game in the first inning. No basketball game was ever won in the first quarter. Like,
no, definitely not.
I'm a basketball fan.
Next week we'll talk about.
I hate the last 5 minutes of a friggin' game takes an hour and a half because of fouls and all the different bullshit. I'm just not into it at all. So I'll never be into it. I'll watch NCAA college basketball. At least some teams get fired up. You get some Cinderella stories, you know. But I mean, the NBA, no thanks. See you later.
Next week we'll talk about Live Golf more, and then we'll talk about Deshaun Watson, because I've been wanting to talk about that for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
But we don't have time today. So Nick, take us out.
Yeah, on our way out, buy Coach Mike Westhoff's book, Figure It Out. It comes out everywhere July 12th. You can buy it right now on Mascot Books website, and the publisher will send it directly to your home. Figure It Out by Coach Mike Westhoff, covering his 32 years of football glory. From all of us here at the Scoreboard Addicts podcast, thanks for spending this time with us. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you again next week. JETS, 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 Jets.
Stay rock.